If you've been eating clean, working out, focusing on wholesome ingredients, hitting your protein, hitting your steps, and doing all the right things on paper, and yet your body still doesn't reflect that leaner, tighter, lighter, more toned physique that you're after, and maybe you want to actually look like you work out, then this video is for you. Like going from healthy and kind of fit to the next level of damn, she works out, that's going to take a way more dialed in strategy than generic eat healthy and work out. If we haven't met, hi, I'm Perry, a weight loss and body transformation coach and trainer with over 10 years experience. And I've seen this pattern play out across hundreds of clients before they come in and work with me. And today I'm going to tell you exactly what's missing, especially if you've already been eating healthy and working out. First things first, eating healthy addresses none of the four core pillars that make a big difference when it comes to body transformation. And this is why so many women feel stuck eating healthy and working out, but yet their photos look the same 6 months later. And today I'm going to walk you through every single thing that you might be doing wrong so that we can correct it and get you that leaner, tighter, more toned body you're looking for. What eating healthy can't do. Bodybuilders plan their food plan around a specific calorie target plus macronutrient goals where they hit specific amounts of protein, carbs, and fats in order to transform their physique. They also follow a specific phased in time strategy so that they can not only build muscle, but also shed fat during specific periods of time. Like, yeah, it matters if a food is healthy or unhealthy, and it's always going to be better to eat salmon and avocado versus processed seed oils. But at the end of the day, that's actually not the most important part. Rather, a specific strategy with specific nutrition goals and specific exercise protocols paired with the right timing and the right phases is what actually is needed in order to transform the physique. And this is especially true if you're going from average to leaner size to then wanting to actually look like you work out. And before you worry about getting too muscular or too bulky, it doesn't just happen overnight because you start strength training and eating protein. Like, girl, it takes a lot more to actually transform your physique than 8 weeks of picking up heavier dumbbells. Just because you follow the same kind of protocols and plan as a bodybuilder doesn't mean you're going to magically turn into some manly or muscular physique. It also doesn't mean you're going to bulk either. The truth is, the majority of women could benefit from following a similar plan because when you go from out of shape or even of average size to what we see on stage with bodybuilders, that's a transformation that you can actually see a clear difference from before and after photos. And that's exactly what we can apply to lifestyle clients as well. And I'll give you one big hint that bodybuilders do not do to get from average or overweight to stage ready. They do not just eat healthy. Like, that is such a vague strategy that doesn't actually translate to results. And at Body Transformation Blueprint, we focus in on 4 key pillars that make a big impact when it comes to building muscle, shedding fat, and toning and tightening. Those 4 key players are the big drivers to seeing results, even if you've been eating healthy and working out for years. So let's dive in. Pillar 1, your metabolism has to be ready first. Most women who come to me after eating healthy, eating clean, focusing on protein, and eating wholesome ingredients, less processed foods, usually also come in to work with me after dieting for years, cutting calories, eating low carb, and honestly, their metabolisms are usually in the dump. This also comes from underfueling, skipping meals, surviving on your kids' leftovers, and barely surviving the day with any food because you were just too busy to eat. And again, none of this is your fault. The majority of women just don't know any better because we all grew up in diet culture of eat less, move more, cut carbs, watch your calories, do a calorie deficit, and everything will fall into place. But that's not how the metabolism works. And honestly, it does way more damage than good, especially if you've been doing that the majority of your life. The truth is, if you're not eating regular meals that are full and balanced with the right amount of calories, protein, carbs, and fats, usually women are coming in underfueled, their metabolism has downregulated, and they feel like no amount of dieting is ever helping them shed that fat on top. In layman's terms, this just means that the metabolism has slowed. It's adapted downward because it's gotten used to you feeding it less. And because of that, you just end up feeling stuck. Then when you're like, okay, Perry, I need to diet even harder. I need to really go all in. Maybe I need to cut my calories even more. What ends up happening is you end up damaging it even further. Like, you already pushed yourself up into a corner, and then by dieting even harder, you're just making things worse, especially if you're losing muscle in the process. This is why sometimes it can feel like no amount of calorie deficits, eating less, or moving more is working for you. And this is also why so many women feel like their body is just broken. But it doesn't have to do with your effort, it has everything to do with your metabolism. Rather than throwing more diets on you or making you work out even more, why don't we spend adequate time repairing and boosting your metabolism ahead of fat loss? And luckily, that's exactly what we do over here at Body Transformation Blueprint. Almost every single client that comes in to work with me, we rarely touch a calorie deficit in the beginning. Instead, we usually end up doing the complete opposite, where we strategically increase calories over the course of 8 to 12 or even 16 weeks to not only repair and boost your metabolism, but to also signal to your body that you are safe to finally let go of that body fat that you've been holding on to. This is what we call a metabolic reset phase. And it's also a really good time to focus on building muscle as well, which in turn is going to help to turn you in a calorie burning machine. And I'll get to that more in a second. Most of the women who come in to work with me usually end up eating 400 more calories per day, some even upwards of 1,200 extra calories per day compared to when they first started with me. And in turn, most of them are shedding fat and losing weight without ever decreasing calories. Over at Body Transformation Blueprint, we call that the magic sorcery, and the metabolic reset phase is doing its job, repairing the metabolism and boosting it ahead of fat loss. The even cooler part is most of the women in this phase do something that we call recomposition, and that's where they increase muscle mass while reducing body fat at the same time. The result is sometimes the scale doesn't move because we know that muscle takes up less space than body fat. So the result is a leaner, tighter, more toned physique without ever dropping calories. If you don't repair and boost your metabolism first ahead of fat loss, especially if your metabolism has slowed or down regulated, no amount of dieting or calorie deficitating is going to work. And that's why we lead with strategy over here, not with emotion and not with fad diet. Pillar 2, your meals have to be specific. This is the one that surprises people the most. Eating clean or eating healthy tells you absolutely nothing about what you actually need to build muscle, shed fat, and look more tighter and more toned. And honestly, this is where most women go wrong. I have clients come in to work with me all the time who are 50 to even upwards of 100 grams short of their protein goal every single day. Not to mention, they're totally under eating in categories like carbs and in overall calories as well. And when you don't have what you need to function as a human, like proper calories, carbs, and protein, let alone what you need to build muscle and shed fat, it's no wonder most women look the same 6 months later. And they're either so frustrated that they haven't seen results, or in combination, they're just clueless because they don't know where they're going wrong. Here's what eating specifically for a leaner, tighter, more toned body actually looks like. Your protein target should be your weight multiplied by 0.7 to 1 time. So for example, if you weigh 150 pounds, your protein target per day should be anywhere between 105 and 150 grams of protein. On the calorie side, if you want to shed fat, you have to be in a calorie deficit of at least anywhere between 300 to 500 calories below your maintenance calories. But again, if you're already dieting between 1,200 and 1,600 calories, it's really hard to achieve a deficit from there because you simply just don't have the runway to do it. It's also really hard to build muscle and shed fat if your body just doesn't have what it needs to thrive. And that means calories, carbs, and protein. If you look at any of these phases, whether you're trying to build muscle or shed fat, or maybe do a little bit of both at the same time, which we call body recomposition, you can see that eating healthy or eating clean doesn't consider any of the major factors that you have to think of, like calories, protein, and carbs. And my clients get very specific protocols and nutrition goals considering each one of their goals. Not only that, nutrition goals have to be phased and timed in a specific way because you can't do everything at once. And this is why we do weekly check-ins to not only see how your body is responding, but to also map out a production timeline for your transformation. This means weighing and tracking your food, tracking to specific nutrition targets, including your calories, carbs, protein, and fat. We also take a look at micronutrients and fiber, and those goals change every single week from month to month based on where your body's at and how it's progressing. This is also why macro calculators and calorie calculators online just don't work. And that's also why we don't subscribe to fad diets. If any of this feels overwhelming, I recommend weighing and tracking your food for 2 to 3 weeks. Let's see what your overall calorie intake is. What do your carbs look like on a daily basis? What do your proteins look like? And then from there, we can figure out what phase you're in, where we need to move you to, and where we need to head to in order to get you that leaner, tighter, more toned physique. And I'm talking more calories, more carbs, and more protein. If you do this for 6+ months, you'd be surprised at the amount of crazy transformations you can experience with a way more dialed in strategy. And that's exactly what we do inside of my custom program. Eating healthy or eating clean and hoping for the best just ain't the vibe. If this video feels like it's speaking to your soul, or you just like my vibe and you want to learn more about how I might be able to help you, hit subscribe. I post videos every single week talking about weight loss, fat loss, building muscle, repairing and boosting your metabolism, and more so that you can finally get the health and the physique of your dream. Now let's keep going. Pillar 3, your workouts have to build muscle, not just burn calories. The exercises and workout formats that most women are doing have nothing to do with building muscle and shedding fat. The majority of them are just burning calories, and if I'm being frank, kind of just wasting your time. Building a body that looks leaner, tighter, and more toned goes well beyond just burning calories from workout. And this is especially true if you're doing the same formats over and over again without any extra stimulus to tell the body to change. You can think of this as your body getting used to the workout. And sure, fitness classes are fun, boot camps can be enjoyable. We love the community in a Pilates class or in yoga. And as someone who used to teach and take fitness classes for 8 years, like I truly get it. I also ran 2 half marathons. I get that too. But those types of workout formats and exercises just don't build muscle. And they also don't really shed fat that well either. If we look at exercise for what it is, as it relates to body transformation, building muscle is going to be your biggest bang for your buck as it relates to a body transformation. Because muscle not only increases your basal metabolic rate, meaning you burn more calories over time with the more muscle you have, but it also helps to create that shape, which is going to give you that toned, tight physique that you're looking for after you shed the body fat. This is also why losing weight isn't the vibe either, because what we want to do is grow lean muscle mass while reducing body fat. And that's going to give you that leaner, tighter, more toned physique. And sorry to say it, but the Pilates classes are not building you muscle, and neither is boot camps, because you need specific training format to do that. And we call that progressive overload. A progressive overload training program is built upon compound movements that give you a big bang for your buck. And from there, you follow the same workouts every single week, but you beat your score every single time. This means going up in weight, going up in reps, or going up in both every single week for months and months. And this is how we build muscle, not a random fitness class where you're throwing 10-pound dumbbells around. Think squats, hip thrusts, rows, bench presses. Those kinds of exercises are going to work multiple muscle groups at once. And when you focus on going heavier, or when you focus on increasing reps, you're telling the muscle to grow. You tear it in the gym and then you rebuild it with nutrition. And this is exactly why you need meals and movement paired together in a specific way to actually transform your body. And if you're like, but Perry, I am strength training, I am doing progressive overload, and I'm focusing on my protein, my next question is going to be, well, how many calories are you eating? How many carbs are you eating? Because you can't build muscle if you're eating like a bird, no matter how much protein you're eating. One of the biggest problems with this is most women have no idea what they lifted 2 weeks ago, let alone 2 months ago. And working out and burning calories is not the same as building muscle and shedding fat if you want that leaner, tighter, more toned physique. There's a smarter way to work out, and that's what we concentrate on in Body Transformation Blueprint. Pillar 4, mindset problems are actually a plan problem. This pillar gets talked about the least, but honestly, it's one of the most important, especially because body transformation takes time. And if your mindset ain't right, no amount of working out and eating healthy is gonna get you there. The mindset piece in a body transformation is not about having more motivation or giving it more time or trying harder or having a positive mindset. Like, yeah, those things are great, but that's not what actually gets you through a body transformation that you can see and feel and maintain long term. It's about what happens when the mind doesn't trust the plan that you're on. And I know that might sound confusing, so let me explain. Most women I know completely avoid counting and tracking their calories and their macros because honestly, they're afraid of what it's going to tell them. A lot of women just don't want to be brutally honest with what they're actually putting in their mouth. Usually, this is because they're choosing higher fat foods, they're going overboard on serving sizes, they're snacking throughout the day, and all of a sudden they look down and the entire chip bag is gone. Let's also not forget about women who have full intention on working out and not hitting snooze and actually making it to the gym, to then just feeling disappointed at the end of the week when they actually don't follow through. But these honestly aren't character flaws. It's just what happens naturally when you don't have a professional plan that you're following and or when you don't trust the plan that you put together willy-nilly. Like, how are you supposed to follow a plan when you don't have full trust in the plan? It just doesn't really work out that way. The fix for this is having a custom 360-degree plan that's built specifically for you and your goals by a professional who's not only done this herself and has helped hundreds of people do it for them as well. It also helps to have the right support and accountability to go along with it so that you actually follow through. And this completely changes your mindset around showing up, doing the work, and following through to keep the promises that you make to yourself. Because finally, you trust the plan, you know it's working, and you continue showing up. And when you do all of those things, it leads you to the results that you want: a lighter, tighter, more toned physique. And that doesn't start with having more motivation, it starts with having a plan that you trust. And you just can't get that on your own by Googling, by saving Instagram workouts, or by AI. Here at Body Transformation Blueprint, we give you a custom nutrition and training programs built specifically for you and your goals that's phased and timed out in a specific way. You can think of it like a production timeline for your body and for your health. We also have weekly check-ins to not only assess your compliance and your progress, but to also make program tweaks that keep your body progressing. And this is why those set it and forget it plans, or those cheap programs, or those cookie cutter programs just don't work because there's no assessment, there's no tweaks, there's no eyes on your body. There's no motivational talks when you fall off the wagon from having a hard week. All of that stuff comes into play with Body Transformation Blueprint because you not only get me in your corner guiding your strategy and steering your ship, but you also have proper support from a community of women around you who are all working towards the same goal, and you have the accountability so you actually stay on track. If you're curious to understand more about what this can look like for you, I invite you to book a free video consultation via the link below. It's going to be me on the other end. We'll talk about your goals, where you're struggling, what you've tried in the past, and we'll map out a plan to help you reach them. The smarter way, not wasting time, not guessing, and not thinking that your metabolism, your genetics, and your age are up against you. Because spoiler alert, once you have the right plan, everything just clicks into place. These 4 pillars have to happen in a specific combination and order. The 4 key players in Body Transformation Blueprint that make a big difference, including metabolism, meals, movement, and mindset, all of those have to be present in a specific way, a specific combination, and implemented during a specific period of time. We can't do everything at once, and if we go out of order, it just doesn't work the same way. There's a specific strategy to each. And honestly, this is why eating healthy and working out doesn't work. And it's why the majority of women spend years, sometimes even a decade, suffering on their own, thinking that their body is broken. Over here at Body Transformation Blueprint, we work in phases. And phase 1 is a metabolic reset phase. This is where we repair and boost your metabolism, work on building muscle, work on consistency, and hitting the basics in a strategic way to get your body primed and prepped for fat loss. This is also the phase that turns you into a calorie burning machine. We want to throw gasoline on your fire of your metabolism and get that engine revved up ahead of fat loss. Phase 2 is the fat loss phase. This is the one that most women are familiar with because, yeah, it does include a calorie deficit, but it also includes other protocols and regimens that we implement to help keep your body moving, losing weight, shedding fat, toning and tightening, while also maintaining and growing lean muscle mass at the same time. And that's important because after you lose weight, we don't want you to just look skinny. We want you to look strong and toned and tight. And that's why doing a fat loss phase appropriately and strategically matters. Not a fad diet, not just dropping calories, but doing things in a smart way. Phase three is rebuild and stabilize. We don't just leave you hanging in a calorie deficit and hope for the best. And honestly, this is why so many women yo yo back and forth and just regain the weight right after. Rather, over here in my custom program, we focus on nurturing and boosting the metabolism on the back end as we continue to build muscle and fill out those muscle bellies, which leads you to a lighter, tighter, more toned physique and one that you can maintain at a way higher calorie count and without trying so hard. This is the difference between getting and seeing results and maintaining them long term. And that's the off ramp period that so many women miss that makes the biggest difference in maintaining your results long term. In all three phases, you need the four pillars and they need to go together in a specific way for it to work the way that you want it to. And that's why having a guide and a Sherpa like me, a professional who's not only done this with herself, but also has worked with hundreds of clients over the past 7+ years, is so helpful because you're no longer wasting your time guessing and wishing and waiting and hoping that you have the right combination of food and exercise. You just know, and your body is responding so you can see it and feel it. Like I always say, we want a body transformation that we can see and feel and one we can maintain long term without having to try so hard. At the end of the day, I've worked with hundreds of clients over the past 7+ years, and I can tell you that food is rarely the first problem. Eating healthy and working out is not the devil, but when you follow a strategic strategy that has all four pillars in place and in a specific combination and in a specific phased way, timing out according to your body's production timeline, everything just clicks together. And it has nothing to do with your age, your genetics, your metabolism, or your hormones, and instead, everything to do with your custom strategy or lack thereof. You've just learned why these four pillars are important and the exact order and timing of those combinations. But we all know that that's not really going to get you the body of your dream. It's going to help to have a professional like me in your corner, guiding your strategy, steering your ship, holding you accountable, and supporting you along the way. And if that sounds like something you're interested in, I invite you to book a free video consultation via the link below. In the meantime, if you want to go deeper on the training and exercise side, including learning why most workouts that women do don't actually produce that toned, light, or leaner figure, then I invite you to watch my next video. It's called Strength Training Isn't Building You the Body of Your Dreams because it's actually not really strength training, or something like that. Click it here to watch it next, and I'll see you on the other side.